Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. This is part 2 of our Over-Under podcast. Probably my favorite podcast to do every year, if not in the top, at least in the top 3. If you missed part 1, check that out on ESPN.com or iTunes.
All right, I'm back.
This is part 2. Joe House took a bathroom break. He's back. We're going to now figure out the over-unders from Vegas for all the teams that they thought would win at least 42 wins or more. Joe House, you're still on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Our first team, Phoenix, 42.5.
I think that's a good number.
That's a good number.
I mean, when I looked at when the list arrived, you forwarded it last Friday. I had numbers in my head of wins for teams, and holy cow! I mean, Vegas is so good. I feel like it's appropriate to give them the over, but it's kind of a sentimental over. It's not really a rational, statistically based over.
I agree.
It's
And
just
also,
a Steve Nash over.
we talk about professional basketball players. This team has a lot of them. And now, I don't agree how the pieces mix together.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really bad job planning this team. And I've made more than one joke about the fact that they have 10 small forwards, which is true.
Yes.
But at the same time, they have Nash. They have Jason Richardson in a contract year. They have Dragic, who came on huge as in the postseason. They have Jared Dudley, who we all love. They have Hedo Turkoglu, redeemable possibly. I don't know if he's ever going to be redeemable. It would be with Nash.
This is
They
it.
have Josh Childress, who's, if he's your 7th, 8th, or 9th man, you're in pretty good shape. They have Brooke Lopez, who we both like. They have Channing Frye, who, they badly overpaid, but still, if he's your 9th man, it's not terrible.
Right.
This team has basketball players that you'd want to go to war with.
They have a bunch of 7, 8, 9 guys who are going to play in the 3, 4, 5 slots.
And that's a problem. But they're not stiffs, though. It's not.
No,
There's
they're
no
not
DJ
stiff.
Augustine type problem here.
Right.
So I think it's a slight over out of respect for Nash. I mean, Nash has won, I forget how many years in a row it's been, but I think he's been over 50 wins for 10 straight years.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
yeah. Oh, yes.
Is that true?
Every year in Phoenix and the last 5 in Dallas, yeah.
Phoenix has been over 50 the last. Didn't they have a year
Hell
just
yeah.
under 50?
Oh, yeah, you're right. They won 48. So he's
Yeah.
no, the stat is maybe 600 winning percentage. I forget what it is. So 48 wins. So he's been over 48 wins every year for the last 10.
He's a winner. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not taking issue with it.
And he's in shape. He's still motivated.
We don't think it's a lock, right? We don't think
No.
they're absolutely going to win 43, but
No.
I mean, they from 54 down to 43. That seems like the appropriate drop. Now,
Would
let
you
me-
rather have Amari Stoudemire for $100 million, or would you rather have Channing Frye,
Yes.
Hakeem
Yes, I'll go
Warwick?
through it. I already know the answer. The answer is yes.
Okay.
I would have signed him.
Denver, under? 43.5, sorry.
I actually was prepared to do the over with Denver because I think there's a reasonable chance that Carmelo just stays. He just stays and plays the whole season. But I don't traffic in the same circles as you. I don't have access to
Shut up.
the heartbeat of the
Please.
NBA power thinking. So I'm not all the way up to speed on it. I just feel like there's a last hurrah to this Denver team. The current Denver team is pretty good. It's a pretty good basketball team.
Well, so we're just going to go over for every West team? We went under for almost every East team. We're going to go over for every West team? Is that how this plays out? I mean, somebody's got to be the bad team.
Well, I do have at least one West team that I think is going to be under, and it's the soccer moms are going to be furious. But
oh no, oh no, don't do it, Joe. Don't cross them.
I think Denver won 53 games last year. It's a 10-game swing, all on the anticipation that Carmelo's going to leave, and we don't have any credible, reliable information that says for sure he's going to leave as we sit here today.
And they added Al Harrington. You forgot that.
Yeah, Al Harrington is legit. I mean, they're not a bad basketball team. They're a 50-win team as I sit and look at this roster right now, for sure. If Nene's healthy all year again, and Al Harrington relieves those minutes that Kmart was being asked to fill, Carmelo's Carmelo. Aaron Aflalo is good. J.R. Smith is good.
You know what? We're going to disagree on that because, as you know, I'm a big chemistry guy.
Yes.
And the chemistry in this team, you can see the smoke coming from L.A. Kenyon's already wants an extension. He might poison the situation if he doesn't get one. They're like, "Are you kidding me? We just overpaid you by $40 million."
Yeah,
with your last contract, you jerk.
Hopefully, he put it in the bank.
J.R. Smith is
he's eccentric.
All right, Chauncey is, I think, one of those guys who, as the skills start to slip, not only refuses to acknowledge it, but even presses a little more.
Now, you gave Chauncey a really hard time about him being included in the World Championship team. I thought he played fine. He played within himself.
Whatever.
I didn't think that he was a detractor. I didn't think that he insisted on
it wasn't
putting
a detractor.
himself above. Huh?
Once he started deferring to Durant, but in the first few games,
he did.
Yeah, he did eventually. In the first few games, he was. Let me get this one, Kevin. It's like, no, get out of the way, Chauncey. You're the best player in the league on your team.
I like Ty Lawson as a backup too.
I think chemistry kills him.
Let's just disagree. We haven't had one disagreement yet.
Yeah,
we had 6 disagreements 2 years ago.
Did you go over or under on Minnesota?
I went under.
Yeah, that could have been a good disagreement for us too. All right, let's disagree on Denver. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Milwaukee, 45.5.
I say over, and you say under.
What do you say for Milwaukee, 45.5?
I feel like it's right on. I think they're a 45-win team. Are they a 46-win team? They were last year. They won 46 last year. They could be a little bit better this year. It really comes down to, and I'm going to root for it because I really think that Milwaukee team is kind of intriguing. I want Bogut to stay healthy. I don't want him to get hurt again.
Well, that was a fluke injury last year. They can't kill him on that, right?
No. I'm not saying that he's injury prone. I mean, even though he kind of doesn't play 80 games a year.
I didn't love the Drew Gooden signing, but at the same time, he's somebody that gives them guaranteed production at a spot that they did not have guaranteed production.
I like the over for this team. I think that they're at least as good as they were last year. I think Corey Maggette, notwithstanding, his Sharif Abdur-Rahim style of winning.
The fact that he's a career loser?
Yeah, right. He's the evolutionary Rahim.
All right, here are my red flags.
Go ahead.
Year 2 is it year 2 or year 3 for Scott Skiles? Whatever, the honeymoon is over, and as we saw with him in Chicago, when the honeymoon ends, it's not fun to be around Scott Skiles.
Yeah.
That's 1. 2, they added Corey Maggette and Drew Gooden. Those are 2 guys that have bounced around the league. Or I guess Maggette didn't really bounce around, but guys who just have assembled lottery experience. Drew Gooden has been traded how many times?
He's been on a lot of good teams, though.
But why do teams keep trading him?
He's hit the point in his career where that's who he is. He plays a certain specific role, and if you have a need for that role, you sign him, and as soon as you're done with it, he's gone.
Orlando, Memphis, back to Orlando, Cleveland, Chicago, Sacramento, San Antonio, Dallas, and the Clippers, and he's 29 years old.
That is a lot of teams.
It's a lot of teams for Drew Gooden.
That is a lot of teams.
Corey Maggette has played in 12 playoff games total. He's been in the league 11 years. Now, throwing this at you, I thought Ridnour was good for them last year.
Yeah, he was pretty good for them last year.
He was a little bit of a security blanket for Skiles with Brandon Jennings. If Jennings had an off day, and I thought this was interesting, and that's something you see all the time in the NBA. If Jennings didn't have it, or if Skiles didn't like what he was doing, or thought he was selfish, or whatever was going on, he would just yank him, and he'd put in Ridnour, and you'd never see Brandon Jennings again.
I think my counterpoint to that is I'm not sure that I've seen a worse defender in the NBA, maybe ever.
Than Luke Ridnour?
Yes.
You felt like you could score on Luke Ridnour.
Yeah, I feel like I could score on Luke Ridnour. I'll answer that question just the way you asked it. Yes, the answer is yes.
I am going to go under, and we're going to disagree again.
Okay, that's fine. I like them right at 46. I think they're going to do just what they did last year.
I think the whole Fear the Deer thing, that was fun. They came out of nowhere. I'm just saying, it feels like a year after type season for them.
Okay.
They maybe a couple injuries, maybe Corey Maggetti's upset. Also, they signed John Sammons to a contract. I don't like paying John Sammons.
Right. So what you're saying is you want him to have to prove it out there.
They have guys who you want playing for a contract and not playing the year after you gave them the contract.
Right.
Makes me nervous. It's John Salmons, right?
I'd say Salmons. I don't know. Who knows?
So bad.
We're just the experts.
Joe Meade. Oh, I think he's in a coma.
This is a long podcast.
What's up?
I was thinking it would be funny if we had some sort of pronunciation expert that just chimed in. I know budgetarily it's impossible, but is it John Salmons or John Salmons?
I go Salmons, but
I think it is Salmons, but you really want to say Salmons when you see it. I think it is
Salmons.
Because announcers will go either way, and it's almost like the Adrian Beltre. Anyway, all right, back to the over-unders. Atlanta is 46.5, also right around where you'd think it would be.
53 wins last year. Do we say that was entirely attributable to them, taking the league by storm? They ripped off a bunch of wins early in the season.
I like over just because we've gone under on so many of these East teams, and I also think
they're pretty professional, I think.
Yeah, they have their core guys. Bibby's obviously a corpse at this point. They can't change that. But Jeff Teague hopefully will take a little bit of a step up. And then here's the thing, Jordan Crawford.
Yep.
You read any of the preseason stories?
No, I haven't read any of them, but
he's been on fire. We liked him in college.
He's a legitimate basketball player.
They had him playing point guard.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, actually. I like that a lot.
They have him. So off the bench, they have him. They have Jamal Crawford. They have Josh Powell, who's another guy I've always liked. He's one of those guys that never hurts you, and he kind of knows where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
And then they have Zaza Pachulia.
Uh-huh.
And also deep on the bench, your old pal, the poet, Etan Thomas.
I don't know how long he's going to be on the bench.
I can't remember, did they fire Mike Woodson?
They did.
And their new coach is Larry Drew.
I like Atlanta. I like the over. We're in agreement.
Yeah, me too. Over. Houston, 47.5.
I actually think that Houston is a lot more stable than they were entering last season. I think they made the right decision here, defining Yao's role, and they're going to try and stick to it.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that for a second, because if they get 24 minutes, let's say they get 22 minutes a game out of Yao.
Yep.
And every time he comes in, I think unfortunately he has to start because it's Yao Ming. They'd be better off bringing him off the bench and having him go against second-string centers. But, when he's in the game, you have to plan for Yao Ming. Assuming he has anything left, the other team has to plan for him.
What does plan for him mean, though?
He's out in the court. Watch out. Uh-oh, Yao Ming, we got to double him. We got to do this. Oh, there he is. I mean, he's somebody that you have to account for.
I think what I want to do is kind of see him in this role, because if he's not blocking shots, if he plays, if he looks a tad immobile, if he's not being as aggressive, then I'm not sure that it's that big a deal. He's a great complementary role player, and on the offensive end, he can he's a guy who can get you can deliver a string of touches to and have good things happen. But if he's not like really altering the game on the defensive end, I'm not sure that it's really that big a deal for Houston opponents.
I'm going to go under on them, unfortunately. All due respect to my friend Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6-game improvement over last year, and
I just think they have too many guys, and I don't think anybody's going to be happy except probably Kevin Martin because he's the only one who's going to get guaranteed minutes, and I guess Scola. But
I'm going to agree with the under.
And Aaron Brooks, they didn't pay him, and really they can't because if they ever end up throwing him in a trade, you can't have him as the extension. So he's not happy.
Are you looking at the same printout as me? Why is Houston at 47.5? And then Chicago shows up next on our list at 46.5.
Because I typed those out by hand, so I probably screwed that up.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I think they're somewhere between 43 and 46.
Okay, so we're going to agree on the under.
Yeah. Chicago Bulls 46.5.
I like the over.
I do too.
I think they demonstrated a chemistry, especially in the playoffs, especially with the chippiness with LeBron, that I think is going to carry over. I think they're going to have kind of a chip on their shoulder and take it personally, those games against Miami, and I think that's going to kind of inform the identity of that team. And I just think that they're kind of like a 48 or 49 win team.
I can't wait to watch this team. I'm very excited for it. And Ronnie Brewer, that's the thing I don't like.
Yeah, I understand that.
I wish they could. I feel like they could have done better than Ronnie Brewer. And I really like Korver. I thought that was smart. But, in all seriousness, this was probably the team that should have overpaid Wesley Matthews if there was going to be a team.
Well, that's right. And that's the interesting thing. They went in on Brewer, and it kind of foreclosed the possibility of jumping in on somebody like Matthews.
I would rather have Wesley Matthews than Kyle Korver or Ronnie Brewer, I think. And I like Kyle Korver a lot, but I don't – and I think he's going to help them. But if they had the ability to do kind of what Portland did, which was to overpay Matthews badly and probably give him almost twice what he was worth, but they front-loaded it, so they put all the money in the front. And I still don't understand why Portland was the team that did that. We're going to get to that, but it feels like he would have had a much bigger impact on the Bulls.
Wesley Matthews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't like Ronnie Brewer. I just don't think he's very good.
I think my feel for him is kind of a contributor defensively more than offensively.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a problem because
I don't like when a team that's in the playoffs just gives away a guy.
Yeah,
like Utah did last year. It's a red flag. I know they had to save money, but if you're that unvaluable, and then Memphis didn't even offer him something protect. All they do is give him a contract offer.
Stick around money.
Well, then if somebody else had signed him, they would have gotten they would have had the chance to match. They didn't even care. It was just weird. The other thing they did that I thought was interesting, they signed Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a smart move. That's it fits the identity that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them as a playoff team. In these big games against Miami when you have to bang bodies, and you have Boozer and you have Noah and you have Thomas. Those are three guys that are going to stand up to people.
So the interesting thing here, though, is that they have to win 6 games more this year than last.
Well, then factor in the Derrick Rose component.
And
year 3, he'll be better than he was last year.
So does not having Heinrich, because they're backup guards.
Yeah, the C.J. Watson I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, not awesome.
You can always address that as the year goes along.
I guess that's right. Keith Bogans is a serviceable.
Well, they can always get a free agent, whatever.
Yeah.
The other part we didn't talk about, I think Thibodeau is going to be, at least for the first year, is going to be lights out.
So that could be the thing. That's what, a couple games with the Boozer effect and then a few games with Thibodeau, and they're right at that 47 number.
Yeah, he'll wear them out eventually because I think he's one of those guys that's just basketball all the time, 24/7, and you just get worn out. Year 1, I think he'll be fine, and I think the Chicago-Miami games are going to be fun. The Chicago-Boston's going to be great. I mean, there's all kinds of Rondo Rose stories floating around now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they are not friends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
so
and there was an edge to them before the World Championships even happened because they had the whole Bulls-Celtics rivalry thing, and people seem to think that there were 2 reasons Rondo was cut. One was that they didn't need Rondo and Rose, and somebody was going to be unhappy, and why infect it? And then the other thing is those guys didn't get along, And if you're going to have one guy playing over the other guy and they don't like each other on top of it, like you look at Michael Vick and Kevin Cobb, and they like each other, it's okay. You don't want the guys not to like each other when they're competing. So they just cut it. And also, he can't shoot threes and he can't shoot free throws.
Rondo of the two is a worse fit for that style of basketball.
Yeah. So I think those games are going to be great. I think the Chicago-Miami is going to be great because of Noah and LeBron. That whole thing. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. So we're good on the over. I don't like it as a lock. 6 games is a lot of games of an improvement to get me into lock zone. For
Dallas 49.5. It's just they always seem to get to 50.
Yeah, I like the over. I'm almost inclined to call that a lock because they've done it for 11 years.
Yep.
So, I mean,
they're like
why would they do it this year?
They're Knishan rounders. They grind it out. They grind out those 50-win seasons.
Do you want to call it a lock or not?
I don't want to root for it, so no.
Okay.
The French guy is going to be interesting. That's the component that I want to see how that plays out.
Beaubois?
Yeah.
When's he supposed to be healthy?
Soon, but
okay.
I want to see how there's a chance he might just be better than Jason Kidd right now.
Yep. And that would be interesting for the identity of this team because he's best at kind of a higher pace, and I'm looking at their roster, and I'm trying to find guys who can play at good pace, and it's not a long list.
You know how old Jason Kidd is now?
I'm going to say 36.
Nope.
35?
52.
Tony Braxton is furious right now.
She's bankrupt. She went bankrupt for the second time. Now, he turns 38 in March.
Wow.
And at this point, really, for a point guard, really only Stockton. And I think Nash will get there, too. Nash is going to be able to play until he's 40. Kidd certainly seems like he stays in shape. He is who he is now. He just shoots threes. He doesn't drive to the basket at all. He can't guard anybody.
It's a very complimentary team for his skill set, too.
Yeah. They know what he can do and what he can't do, and they don't ask him to do anything he can't do. That's a 50-win team, I think.
It's a 50-win team.
How'd you feel about Brandon Hayward for $55 million?
I understand.
Brendan Hayward, sorry.
Huh?
Brendan. I said Brandon. I meant Brendan.
No, he deserved another contract. He came in to Dallas and gave them a double-double. He allegedly, by all of the metrics, contributes to wins. I just never saw it in Washington. I can't think of a single instance where I was watching a game and thought to myself, amen, we have Brendan Haywood because, he made that play that got us over the hump, and we won the game because of him.
And he was a bad chemistry guy, right?
He and Eton didn't get along. I think he gets along well with the guys.
How do you not get along with Eton Thomas?
They were rivals for the starting center position.
Rivals with poetry or what?
No, just with the starting center position.
Yeah, all right.
It could have been healthy competition that took a little bit of an unhealthy direction. I don't think Brendan is a bad chemistry guy. I just couldn't possibly justify that kind of investment.
Another team that we both like the over for is the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I just don't know why they won't win 50 games.
And I got to say, watching them just in the preseason, it's pretty interesting when they play Kirilenko, Jefferson, and Millsap together.
Sure it is. Why is it? Yeah, of course that's interesting.
Because Millsap goes in the foul line. They post up Jefferson. Kirilenko kind of just floats around and does Kirilenko things. And then defensively, even though Jefferson's not great, even though Millsap's undersized, Kirilenko's so good. Collectively, it kind of makes sense. It just felt like I was watching it. It just felt like a weird threesome that made sense to me.
It's a team that sort of rejiggered on the fly, but I think is going to hit the ground running. I mean, they're no worse for the wear, not even a little bit.
The one part, they have a major hole. You know what that hole is?
Oker being hurt?
No.
So what?
C.J. Miles is their starting shooting guard.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking about...
that's a crater.
Guard.
That's not even a hole. That's a crater.
Maybe that's where Rip goes.
Oh.
Well, how about Rip Hamilton on Utah?
Wait, can we just trade Kirilenko to the Nets already? Doesn't he need to be with Prokhorov? Why can't that happen? Why doesn't that happen?
I thought it was teed up to happen, wasn't it?
Now, granted, in preseason, you don't want to get carried away, but Utah played the Lakers the other night. Gordon Hayward looked fantastic. I mean, fantastic. 26 points.
I think for sure he has found the situation that's most appropriate for him. He's going to learn the league the right way. He's sort of protected, he doesn't. Big things aren't expected of him.
The only thing I don't know is how is he going to go over with the Jazz fans? It could be a little dicey.
One of those 100 interesting questions for the NBA.
I don't know. I mean, I could see him ruffling their feathers a little bit. So let me ask you this: crunch time. Let's say Hayward's good. Let's say he's just money. Let's say that the NCAA tournament was just a preview of things to come for this kid, and he's clutch and he's got ice in his veins.
Yeah.
Let's say that they could play him and Darren Williams, Karolinko, Jefferson, in either Okoro or Millsap, and have Karolinko, who can do this, guard the other team's shooting guard, play Hayward at shooting guard on offense, and then have him kind of hide him on defense, basically. Is that team a little more dangerous than last year, or am I crazy?
No, their problem last year was putting the ball in the basket. They had, a real hard time against the Lakers in the playoffs in the fourth quarter at crunch time scoring. The games that were closest were the games where Korver was hot, and he was really kind of their only option. That was one of the weirdest experiences I had watching the playoffs last year, by the way. Why Darren Williams didn't go to the rim every single time on offense inside of 5 minutes.
I don't know what to make of him.
Huh?
I don't know what to make of him.
Well, I think he's trying to stay within the scheme, but he would have gotten to the free throw line at least half the time, and you have to score. When you're in those crunch time moments in the playoffs, and they just were taking bad shots and not making them.
And then you throw in his hair, and it's like, what do we do with him? What is he doing with the hair? What are you doing, Darren?
I don't. I like
what's going on
and everything that he delivers. So
right,
I'm good with his hair.
Over. And I probably just jinxed Hayward, and he's going to now stink. But I was really impressed by him in the Laker game. I know it was his best preseason game. San Antonio 50.5. It's right where it should be.
Yeah, right where it should be.
The big differences this year with them are they had a lot of rest.
Yep.
And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean, they really did have more rest. They got bounced in round 1.
Yep.
And the team looks a little re-energized to me. I watched them against the Clippers in a preseason game, and they had Ginobili calling plays at the end of the game, and they had a nice vibe to them. Even for preseason, I just felt like they had come back a little bit.
They only have to win one more game than last year to hit the over. They won 50 last year. They look every bit as professional, and the upgrade could be Splitter, right?
Yeah.
Does Splitter offset the downgrade that Richard Jefferson probably continues to represent?
Oh, God. How did he end up coming back? I mean, I know they had to do it because, in a weird way, it kind of worked out financially. I want to see DeJuan Blair play more for this team.
Maybe he will. Maybe they'll spell Tim A fair amount.
I'm going over.
I'm going over also. 51.
We've had a lot of overs. We went over on Atlanta. We went over on Chicago, Dallas, and Utah, and saying that 5 of the last 6 were over.
Yeah. And I'm like irrationally over. I'm over on Denver. I'm over on Milwaukee. Those are 2 unders for you. There are very few unders on this page.
You have, if we added up the wins and losses, you'd have NBA teams winning 300 more games than they're going to lose this year, which is impossible. But
it's a fact. I understand.
Well, here's an under. Oh, God. I'm so nervous.
You said it.
I'm so nervous. I'm just nervous to even go here. I feel like we need a 3-minute introduction trying to smooth this over before we get into it.
Rationalize.
I might just go over just because I don't feel like getting the emails.
Okay, so we'll disagree. I'm saying under. I think that the sort of floor has fallen out. The ceiling has fallen in. The floor has dropped out from under them. I'm going to mess up all the cliches, but when the franchise is in turmoil, the way that this franchise appears to be in turmoil.
You're talking about front office turmoil.
Yes.
And ownership turmoil. Fair point. Portland fans have to agree there's been some turmoil. We're not exaggerating that.
And with the added layer that the coach is involved. It's not like Nate is, he can play the I'm with you guys, let's just focus on winning and let whatever crazy stuff we can't control in the front office go however it's going to go. Nate himself is implicated. He had the extension in front of him and said no, thank you. I think that infects and will affect the approach that the team takes this year.
Why don't, if you know you're going to sign Wesley Matthews, whether you agree with that move or not, why not trade Rudy Fernandez in June? They murdered his value, his no trade value.
I honestly think they're going to just release him.
But I feel like the Celtics would have given up a future number one for him in June.
They missed out.
It's weird.
Portland missed the window. That's what happens when you fire your GM. When your GM fears for his, job on the brink of the playoffs, on the brink of the draft.
I watched Wesley Matthews pretty carefully last year because he played the Lakers in the playoffs, and he played a lot of minutes against Kobe, and Kobe did whatever he wanted against him. Now, he's Kobe Bryant, number one. Number two, Wesley Matthews was a rookie, probably playing a little more than he thought. But when they call him like a lockdown defender, I can't go that far, but he does seem like he's a good athlete. He makes threes, which is big. And if he really can play three positions, maybe that was a good signing. I didn't know he could play point guard.
To me, it feels like
look how nervous we are. The Portland, crazy.
Well, you know why? Because they perform, at an irrationally high level. That team last year had absolutely no business whatsoever winning 50 games.
What if
that
Odin's,
was like one of the historical achievements in the league in the last 10 years?
I mean, with all the injuries they had, it was inconceivable. I still don't know how it happened.
That had to fill in. It's not just the injuries, but the guys who had to play, the guys who were pressed into service. The fact that they pulled Camby in mid-season, and they still won 50 games. I mean, it's an amazing feat and a very good franchise for being able to sort of deal with all of those things that were thrown at them and come out on the back end with 50 wins. I just don't think they can do it again, and I'm underwhelmed by this roster.
Okay.
So why don't you take the over? I'll take the under.
I'm going to take the over as an olive branch to the Portland fans who are convinced that I don't like them for some reason. Why would I not like Portland?
Year, it's appropriate. I mean, to me, I think Andre Miller is going to be a problem this year.
Yeah, he is an enigma.
Anyway,
I'm going to go over. I think they go 52-30, and I'm making that pick as mostly out of respect to Brandon Roy.
Then I'm going to have them around like a 48 range. I still think they're good. They're not,
Here's my last thing with Odin. What if he actually stays healthy this year? And he's somebody that when he played last year, rebounded and blocked shots at a very, very high rate, and I thought had an impact on the games I watched. If you now have him and Camby, and you can basically get 50 minutes combined out of those guys,
it would be terrific. I mean, I really...
I'm not talking about whether it's great for the league, bad for the league. I'm just saying, from a basketball standpoint, not a lot of teams have that. And if they can get 25 minutes out of Odin and 30 out of Camby, that team's going to rebound the hell out of the ball.
The basketball proposition is irrefutable. He's dominant on the defensive end, the combination of shot blocking and rebounding. And also, I really was impressed when he was healthy. His rotations were great. His feet were very good. Very good.
Now we're turning into soccer moms. Very good. Good job, Greg. Good job. No, I agree. I mean, I just
don't believe it. I just don't see him getting to 45 games this year. That's all.
Well, if you look at the history of somebody like Sam Bowie, who was another injury play guy. Sorry to bring him up, Portland. Sam Bowie did have a couple 80-game seasons. Just law of averages, you're going to be able to stay healthy for 6-7 months at a time during your NBA career, no matter how injury plagued you are.
This could be one of those seasons, and Portland might crush the 51.5 and win 56 or 57 games, and I'll be wrong. That's okay. Okay,
I got over. Oklahoma City, we don't even need to discuss. We think this is a lock over.
Yeah, it's a lock over.
I think they win 60, 60 plus. I think they make a leap. I think Durant wins the MVP. I think he wins the scoring title by at least 4 points. I think he will average about 32.8 points a game, which will be about 4 points higher than anybody else. I think he will cruise to the MVP. I can neither confirm nor deny reports that I've wagered on both of those things. Durant for MVP, 5-2 odds, and scoring title was 2-1. I may or may not have a little action on those.
I just want to inject one sort of dose of tempering this enthusiasm.
Okay. All right.
And it really goes to the center position.
Yep.
It's a combination of Kristich.
No, Ibaka's going to play crunch time.
Okay. And Cole Aldrich off the bench.
Cole Aldrich setting some picks, 15, 20 minutes a game, hopefully.
And
James Harden, big leap up.
You expect Jeff Green to do what?
I expect him to do what he did last year.
Okay, that's if you don't need him to do anything more for them to get to. You said 60 wins.
I think Durant is the guy.
Yeah,
and forget everything I've ever written about him. I'm just talking about for this year going forward. I just think he has everything I'm looking for. He's the eye of the tiger. I feel like he got better from last year to this year. I think last summer was invaluable to the defense rebounding. He's just better. He looks better to me. He looks more confident, and I think he's going to be the best player in the league.
Well, I think about it this way. Cleveland won 61 games last year and 66 the year before, and Cleveland had worse teams than this Oklahoma City team, surrounding their best player.
Really tough to beat at home. I thought they got a nice taste of it. They came close. And also I think he's going to play a lot at the 4 this year, which they kind of never really were sure what position he was, but I think now he's a natural power forward in today's 2010-11 NBA. So,
yeah,
I'm leaning towards picking them to make the finals, by the way. Don't think
I think that's a stretch.
Well,
I need a team to win.
I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think.
It's your money.
I'll pick who I want to pick.
You do whatever you want with
Maybe I want to pick Oklahoma City versus the Celtics. What, you're going to stop me?
No, I definitely am not. It's your money.
Hold on. We have to have a moment of silence for the city of Seattle. And we're done. Celtics, 53.5. Why don't you tell me what you think?
I think the over is appropriate. That they won 60 or over 60 2 of the last 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And last year was kind of an aberration with the injuries. And they also last year kind of did the right thing. Obviously, in hindsight, it's easy to validate their approach, but a bunch of their guys kind of ratcheted down a couple notches, and that's why they lost a bunch of regular season games that were kind of confounding. You were concerned, I recall from the columns that you were writing as the season was ending, that they'd kind of been infected in a bad way with the Rasheed Wallace.
Rashid Saeed. Yeah, he infected us.
That's it. But, like you say, we got the perfect hindsight now to say, well, it was exactly the right approach. They recharged for the playoffs and did work, and we're about 6 minutes away from yet another Boston title.
The big difference. Oh, God.
I think they're really, really deep this year. I
was going to say they're just the Nate Delonte backcourt. Delante's back. I don't know what the hell happened to him last year, but he's 2008 Delonte again. And having him and Nate off the bench is a backcourt that name me another team that has two guards that can come in at the same time and actually swing the game for 5 minutes.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I think,
and then Shaq and Big Baby together. Listen, nobody was more horrified by the Shaq signing than me, but the guy got in shape. He hasn't been in shape in 3 years. He's in shape this year. I don't know what happened. I can't speak for the last 3 years. I just know what I'm seeing now, and the guy's in shape and he's motivated, at least right now.
And they could be a huge basketball team if they want to go big.
Yeah.
They could almost put out 5-7 footers.
And then Perkins comes back. They're thinking February, March. So you got, against every team they're going to have 18 fouls. But they also have an axe to grind against the Lakers, Miami, and Orlando.
And that's the thing to me that will really counsels in favor of the over here.
Yeah.
It's that they have something to prove to the league. They won't just walk through the regular season the way they did last year. So we're in agreement on the over.
Orlando is 56.5.
I think they're going to win 57. I keep taking overs. They won 59 last year.
Big difference. They lost Matt Barnes. They got Quentin Richardson.
So there's a toughness quotient that they lost. But doesn't that really only matter come playoff time? Doesn't really matter in the regular season, does it?
Duhan.
Duhan was a good addition. I think, he was lost in New York. He has something to prove, and he helped smooth over, Jay Will is sidelined for, I think, a month or so. So that's a nice transition.
I mean, we've had 6 straight overs now. This would be number 7.
The
Are we really going to go 7 overs?
I took the under for Portland. But the thing is also, I kind of have been sucked in by the Dwight Howard Hakeem.
I know, I have too. All right, let's go over. We know that for whatever reason, this group of guys beats the hell out of bad teams. That's the one thing they do, like it's their job. If they're playing a bad team, they're going to win, and then those wins add up. So, yeah, I think somewhere from 57 to 59. Lakers 57.5.
The over is the thing that makes sense. I'm going to say under, just because I feel like they're going to do a little bit of coasting in the regular season.
Yeah, and the conference is better.
Exactly. They don't have as much to prove. They just need to finish in the top 3 or 4 record-wise, and 56 games, 55 games will do that.
Kobe's knee's already banged up.
And it would be sensible for him to take time off. He doesn't need to play, 79 games this year.
And they also know they're going to have no chance at the best record. And I think Oklahoma City's going to pass them for the number 1 seed anyway. So, so what? They get 2, 3. They're not going to care. They're going to try to get ready for April, May, and June.
Let's take the under, but I'm going to circle 57 as the number.
It'll be 55 to 57. 57 and 25 is fine for them.
Yeah, Lakers fans shouldn't be mad at us.
I watched them and they looked. I watched them in the preseason. They just look flat, and they should be. They've won 2 straight titles.
Right, that's fine. They can rev it all up after January.
I think 6 out of every 24 games they're just going to mail in. Thanks for the courtesy laugh.
I always laugh. That's not a hard sell for me. I love that joke.
Finally, Miami 64.5.
Wow.
Under.
Did we have somebody look at the research to see the last time that a team was put out by Vegas at this high a number?
Here's my theory. These guys are already getting little dinged injuries. LeBron and Wade are going against each other in practice. They're beating the hell out of each other. Spoelstra is from that Riley school. We got to practice hard. I don't think Wade or LeBron have practiced hard in 5 years. And they're going to have teams coming at them every single night. It's going to be the biggest game of the year for whoever they play, home or road. And I just don't think these guys have had to play with a bullseye on their back for 8 months before. I really wonder if both of those guys can play 140 combined games.
So here's my response. You're going to take the under. I'm going to take the over.
Oh, I don't want to be there. I don't want to disagree with you on this, though.
The Boston Celtics won 66 games the first year of the Big Three.
Fine, you sway. I'm not going against you on this. Then I'm saying 65 and 17.
Okay, the 65 and 17 is a very reasonable number for this team. When you consider what LeBron James did almost single-handedly the past 2 seasons in Cleveland, and you have to agree that those teams were really terrible. Those were bad teams, that they had around him. That I just don't see how it translates into anything less.
It will be a big deal every time they lose. So, the safe bet is to go over. I would have gone under if you weren't going over. It's going to be right around there. It'll be right in that.
It is going to be right around there.
I think any talk of them winning 72 games is ludicrous.
Oh, I think it's ridiculous. I don't think they sniff 70. To be honest with you,
I watched that Oklahoma City Miami game preseason, and Durant had the eye of the Tigers. I'm going right at LeBron. I'm going right at him, and every night they're going to deal with that.
And LeBron was doing post-up things, which was exciting about that game too.
So we disagreed on here's the wrap up, and then you go. Denver 43.5. I have under. You have over. Milwaukee 45.5. I have under. You have over. Portland 51.5. I have over.
And I have under.
The soccer moms wore me down. You have under. And I actually do think they're probably going to go over on that. That wasn't just a sentimental pick.
Yeah.
The ones we have for locks, Toronto 26.5 under. Cleveland 29.5 under. Knicks 35.5 over. Philly 35.5 under. And then Oklahoma City 52.5 over. So we only have 5 locks. You okay with that?
Yeah, we only had 6 locks 2 years ago. That seems like the right number to shoot for, lock-wise.
Okay. So we're good. Joe House. Go talk to your wife. Go make your business calls. Thanks for devoting the last hour and a half of your life to this.
Bill Simmons, I would do it all over again.
Give us your finals pick while you're here.
I like the Celtics. I hate to say it. I really do like the Celtics. I'm not your guy, huh?
No, I know. You wouldn't say that. Just say it. So you like the Celtics and who?
The Lakers. I think it's going to be a repeat. I think it's going to be tremendous.
I just want to say that if we lose to the Lakers again, I'm leaving for the summer. I'm not even kidding. London, Spain. I don't know where I'll end up, but it will not be in this country. I will be out. Goodbye. Goodbye, America, until September.
I'm rooting for that combo, and I'll root for your guys.
You're going to get an email from me. Hey, we're in Dublin.
I'd like you.
We're here for 8 weeks. I'm waiting until the smoke clears. All right, Joe House, thank you very much.
Good times.
Talk to you soon.
See you.
All right, thanks to Joe House for that. That was part 2 of the NBA OverUnders podcast. If you missed part 1, check it out on BS Report, on the BS Report page on ESPN.com or on iTunes. Coming back to you later in the week, we have Mark Jackson, actually. We're taping tomorrow from ESPN. Never had him on. Can talk Yankees, NBA, all kinds of stuff. Until then.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
That concludes another episode of the BS Report, and we leave you with this final thought. Subway Restaurants is cheering on Jared. As if losing almost 250 pounds wasn't enough, Jared has run 552 miles training for the 2010 ING New York City Marathon. He fuels his training with the low-fat Subway Club. So now, to celebrate this landmark achievement, the Subway Club is the newest $5 footlong sub for a limited time, so hurry in. And hey, Jared, what's next? Scaling Everest? Maybe kayaking the Pacific?